The Wednesday Night Info Show.
Tales from the Miniverse. I want to begin this Tales from the Miniverse by talking to you a little bit about the gateway to the Miniverse, and I believe that to be the Squier Mini. Now, there are two different versions of this. The first version has the football-style output jack, which means to me, at least to most eyes, it looks the most stratty of the two. The other one has a jack in the bottom of it and a plate on the back to access it. That's your version 2. The version 2s have horrible strap nubbins that need to be replaced even before you tune the thing. They have different tuners. The version 2 has a newer looking tuner, and the old ones have more of a vintage looking tuner. Neither one of them are really a higher quality as far as keeping it in tune than the other. And I know because I have 6 different samples of that guitar taken over a 10-year period of manufacture. And I know that most of the differences that you find between the guitars, version 1, version 2, apart from that style, are pretty much down to quality control. And that's just random. One other thing that's important to note is that they're ubiquitous. These things are everywhere. Just for fun, I decided to do a search for within 50 miles of my house. Now, I live in a town of 7,000 people, and these are all here, which is where it started. I already had the original 4 Squier Minis, and I was looking for one to keep original. I wanted to do some tone comparisons, and as I swapped pickups out, I wanted to be able to go back to the factory, back to stock. And so I was on a trip to Asheville for a business trip, and I know the market is much bigger in Asheville than it is in the little town where I live. And so I checked around on Marketplace, and I found more than a few that were available. And one of the ones that I found available was an Olympic white in almost new condition. It was going to cost me about 20 minutes of out-of-my-way travel, 10 minutes here, 10 minutes back. It was going to cost me a cup of coffee to rent the table at the place where we were going to do the exchange, and $100 cash. It seemed like a fair trade. Once I played it and I could see that the neck was in pristine condition, it hadn't really been set up, but it also hadn't been played. And at $100, that was pretty much the average cost of a Squier Mini at that point in that summer. The shocking thing, I actually kept it stock. Within a few weeks, I took it to the beach. Now, like I said, originally my intention was to leave this one original. I'd already modified Red a few times. Dita once, Jiminy and Miss Texas were starting their transformations into what they would become, but this one was going to stay original. I didn't even give it a name, very intentionally. Going to keep it the same, going to keep it original, going to keep it together, keep it together, keep it together. And then I went on a 2-part vacation. And for the first part, I took the Olympic white.
What's the point trying to make you happy? What's the point of trying to make you smile? I give up. I just want quiet for a while. What's the point of trying to love you better? What's the point of doing the best I can? You use me up and then move on to another man.
But for the second part of the trip, I took a different Mini, one that had been modified. I took Jiminy. And I also visited music stores literally from the North Carolina coast to some of the larger stores in the Atlanta area. So I went to stores that had less than 50 guitars, and I also went to stores that literally had more than hundreds of guitars in stock. And suddenly I wasn't happy with my little stock standard Squier Mini. I had played all these different guitars. I'd had a chance to play some guitars with P90s in them and some humbucking pickups that I didn't hate and that type of thing. And so I wanted to do something with the Mini that I had never seen done before. And that is one of the first major problems that you're going to have once you go through the gateway into the world of minis. These Mini Squiers, because of that swimming pool route that's under the pick guard, the limit of the mods for these is pretty much somewhere between your imagination and your skills, or at least what you're willing to pay someone else to do. Now, if you don't believe me, type in Squier Mini to a search engine and watch the hundreds of videos that come up, including one guy who dropped some serious coin into his and had it routed out to turn it into a Seymour Duncan powered Floyd Rose wearing super strat. Now, once upon a time, that would have been great, but that's not my style. And that's when it dawned on me. I had never seen P90s in a Mini before. And so that was her first mod. A 3-position switch, a single volume knob, and Wilkinson M P90 pickups. Hearing it now, I kind of wish that I had left it alone, but the pick guard looked horrible, and it wasn't the tone that I was chasing at the time. It was a tone that I enjoy now, but it wasn't the one that I was looking for. And although I was looking for something different, and it was something different, it was something different that was the same that I was looking for that was imaginary. So I looked for something differenter. And that's when I found these Alnico 5 lipstick pickups that at the time were only $72. And I decided to roll the dice with those in a pick guard that had been donated from another project, which is how we got here. It has a particular tone and a particular feel. Of all the Squier Minis I have, it's the one that I pick up the most often to play and to write with. It doesn't show up on the channel nearly as much as I play it because I did that early on. And quite frankly, this is my goof-off guitar. This is my therapy tone, my private stock, so to speak. And the tone that I love comes easily to it. The maple neck is perfect for the feel that I'm looking for, and since it's essentially my strat neck with a capo on the 3rd fret, it feels like home. And moreover, since I've played many more Squiers over the years than I have Fenders, the finish on the neck is really much, much more to my preference. Now, I know that I speak very highly of the 2222 neck on the CNZs, but this Squier Mini neck is what I grew up on. It's a maple neck with a little bit of a finish, a maple fretboard, 9.5 radius jumbo frets. And it took me until I started to work on this episode to realize my first guitar was an Olympic white Squier Bullet with a maple fretboard and a maple neck. And it disintegrated just a few months before I bought the Squier Mini because it had been abused for more than 30 years. See, I was chasing different tones at that point, and I was convinced that it was all in the guitar. And I was happy with these lipstick Alnicos, so happy with them that I split another set between my birthday build and the CNZ, bought it to mod it. Now, counting repurposed parts, not counting repurposed parts, $170 isn't bad for a guitar that provides me such a fun factor. And that neighborhood, $170, has a lot of company. The stock CNZ Minis, the Carolina, the Maestro, Dita, Miss Texas, the Rondro SX, all ride that same bus to work, right in that same neighborhood of the cost. It's a little more than the Voxes and a little more than some of the other guitars, but that's a very comfortable place to be for a guitar that you can practice with, you can travel with, and you can gig with if you so choose to. Now, you can still find used Squier Minis within a few miles of your house, and you can cross over and go through that gateway for around $100, as far as I know at the time of this recording. They may need some work, and sometimes you're going to have to correct what a guy like me has done to them. But if you go new with a version 2, please replace those nubbins with a proper strap button before you even do a basic setup. And hopefully you won't run into the issues that I ran through with the Mini Jazzmaster a few weeks back. Most of them come with fretboards that aren't maple. Stock, they have a single tone, single volume, which generally isn't a big deal to get used to. I've bought new and I've bought used, and honestly, unless I think about it and refer to my list, I couldn't tell you today which ones came from where. You see, this is one of those gateway guitars that people buy when they're in that 100% of people that want to learn to play guitars. And statistically, 90% of those are not going to make it. And so they go up for sale. So they're everywhere. And that keeps prices down. And the fact that standard size components fit in them with very little modification. Sometimes you've got to mellow out a pick guard. But that pretty much makes it easy to drop whatever pickups you might put in a full-size Strat in them. I know because I've done it. And I have been accused of being a moron. You see, you can get these custom pick guards too. Change the flavor of it. Change the look from a country that shall remain unnamed at this point. There are almost as many mods for the Squier Mini as there are for the regular-sized Stratocasters. So they're durable, they're giggable, and they're popular. They're versatile, modifiable, and they make a good gift without modifications. You asked me if I'd buy another one. I've already bought 6. And for the record, none of them are stock. I gotta be me. Like, share, subscribe, comment. Do that thing you do. Go enjoy. Go play. You made it this far, you might as well hear something else.